Join me right now back on the show is UFC featherweight prospect Julio Arce. What's going on, Julio?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Before we get into, your recent fights, let's go back to 2007, 2011. In that time frame, you went on a legendary amateur run. How beneficial was it for you to have an amateur career before entering the pro ranks? Because a lot of guys nowadays, they just jump right into
It
the
was,
pros.
yeah, I know. Like for me, it was actually I took a long road to become pro. Like look, I had 13 amateur MMA fights. I had the New York City Golden Gloves. I did kickboxing. I had about 13 fights in kickboxing. So I was doing every discipline to make sure that when I went pro, I wasn't just one dimensional, like just good at wrestling or just good at, jujitsu or just good at striking. I had to be good all around, and that's why like in the amateurs, gather as much experience as you can. So then when you go pro, you're comfortable in every area of the fight. So it was like insane amounts of experience, and I loved every minute because I was fighting like every week, every like every month. Like it was always fighting. So it helped me really prep for the pros. And even as a pro, I had to do a lot of fights before eventually getting that call into the UFC.
Do you see a lot of guys kind of jumping in too quickly into the pros nowadays?
I think so, but also what you also seeing here is just a big like evolution in the game in this game. Look like now like some people are so much more well rounded than before. Before it was like you're good at wrestling, okay, we'll just teach you how to use your big overhands and a couple punches, and I jump in there pro and just go. But then that would be like the beginning of the end for their career because they'll start doing good until you face that one person that just catches you, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So you know, before some people jump in too soon. Still think some people jump in there too soon. But now when you see the people that are taking their time and that they're coming up, they're getting really good because it's just the game just keeps evolving. The sport's just constantly growing.
It shows you that you do need to have a good coaching staff around you to kind of
Yeah,
guide you properly. If you don't, you're going to jump in, and even though you have so much potential, you might just quit in the beginning because you was just too fast for you, right?
yeah. You don't want to get thrown under the bright lights too fast, where then you crumble. And that's why I'm very thankful for my coaches for Tiger Schulman's for doing that for me. It's like, look, you don't need to rush to get into the UFC. It's like get at least 10 fights, 10 pro fights. Get some pro kickboxing in there, and just get in there, get all the experience that you can. So then when you go under the bright lights, you're not gonna like just shut down and then you can't perform. It's like you're gonna go in there, you're gonna fight, you're gonna feel comfortable.
All right, well, let's talk about your last appearance, UFC
Mhm.
Rochester. You got back in the win column with an impressive third round knockout. First head kick KO of your career, but also against a taller guy. How crazy is that?
I know that dude was 6 feet tall. Holy crap! Couldn't believe it. Insane.
Were you
But it was
practicing the head kicks like in camp?
yeah, we were working trying to throwing throwing the kicks in every different areas. Front kicks to the body, low kicks, and just really mixing it up. And at one point during the I think it was the second round or maybe the first round, I know I hit him with a head kick before there, and he kind of just took it, which I was like, all right, like he's eating those. And then when he kind of pressed me up on the cage, I went left hand, left leg, so just like kind of hide the kick behind that punch, and it just landed flush, especially after like going back and forth for first and second round. I'm like, all right, he's not gonna let's hide this kick behind it, like boom, boom, and then he went down.
Yeah, that kick was just so fluid, man. Like it was just like effortless in a way. It just hit like the perfect spot. It seemed like because he was
Hmm.
out.
Yeah, he went like he just went down, but it was great. I mean, it was just all about the setup and all just about putting all the practice, out there, making it go live.
All right. Well, after fighting Julian Erosa, did you expect to come back earlier, or was UFC 244 on home turf the card you always wanted to, get on?
Yeah, I always want to fight at the Garden. That's always great. I mean, I did it last year, and I want to be in New York again because it's home turf. And I was gonna get in there before, but a couple of injuries held me back. So I didn't want to go in there compromised and then you know put like my fight career like that on in jeopardy. So I'm like, okay, let me heal up and I'll come back and I'll be ready to fight. I was supposed to fight uh, Hakeem in was it when Holloway fought Edgar? I was supposed to fight him on
Oh,
that
in
card.
Edmonton.
Yeah, and I was like, look, it's like I'm down to fight him, but I just can't do it now. It's like I just fought like a month ago, and I'm still healing up. It's not like it was a quick knockout victory where I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. It's like, no, I did sustain some damage, so I wanted to go heal up, and I'm like, look, if you just push it back, I'll fight him at the Garden. I'll fight him later on, but it doesn't matter. Eventually, me and him we're gonna cross paths one way or the other, whether it was at the top or now. So it's like I'm like, okay, just give me a little more time, and I'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see that you take your career very seriously, because the other guys they have that mentality of like, I don't care if I'm injured, I'm just gonna fight anyways. But
Mhm.
you're at that age where you do need to make the proper decisions to kind of further your career and make it last longer, right?
Yeah, then look, it's not like everyone they've been giving me to fight. I'm in there and I'm showing up. I'm giving it my all. You know, whether it was my first three victories and then that my other fight that it was a bloodbath in there. Like I still showed up to fight. So it was like, okay, I was after this. I'm like, let me just heal up. I want to go in there and really fight this guy at 100% of what I got, not at 65 or 70% thinking like, oh, I don't want to. It's like this. I'm risking it. I'm like, no, I want to give him. I want him to fight me at 100%. I want him to fight me. I mean, I want to fight him at 100% too, and then that makes a better fight.
At that UFC that you were supposed to fight Hakeem, he actually fought a Japanese opponent, Hori. Did you catch that fight? And how did you think?
Yeah,
What did you think about the performance? It was a pretty good fight.
it was a good fight. Look, Hori was he moves around a lot. He was bouncing from side to side, which like I know like it's kind of like an old fight. One of my teammates he fought Horiguchi, and like
Yeah.
Horiguchi moves around a lot, and so was this guy. So of course it's kind of like frustrating because if you just rush in and this guy's moving, he's just gonna automatically just stop out of nowhere and just crack you with something. So it's like you got to be patient with fights like that. Although you're trying to make it like a dog fight or whatever type of fight you're trying to make it, with a person that's moving around like that, it's like you just got to be patient and then just kind of when you're ready, that you land a shot, which is exactly what he did, and then he finished them. So it was very interesting fight to see, though. I mean, that guy was moving around a lot.
Yeah, he was doing his best Machida.
Yeah,
Well, Hakeem, he's a good striker, but your roots are with the world famous Tiger Showman. How do you rate his striking ability?
hey, he's a well-known striker. Like I know he's had a lot of Muay Thai experience, and all I know is it's gonna be an awesome scrap. I just cannot wait to go into battle. Look, we go in there. It's just like we're just gonna showcase everything that we got, and I can't wait to let it all out on that cage.
Yeah, it is going to be a great matchup. Do you see this as an opportunity to kind of show some new tricks that you have developed on the feet against Hakeem?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to really showcase a lot more because each time, like each fight is like just about each fight that I have. It's I rewatch it. I take from it. I'm like, what can I do more? What can I do better? And just constantly looking to improve. So in this fight, I'm looking to do even more than what I did last fight, and like each time, just get better and better and better. So I'm gonna have a couple of tricks up my sleeve.
Tiger Schulman, everybody knows the impact that he has had on you and everybody else. But who are the other coaches at Tiger Schulman that have developed you, that have molded you, and over the years?
Like besides, uh, Hyon Daniel Tiger Showmans and Ronnie Showman. Also we have our boxing coach Ray Velez, our wrestling coach Rusty Reed, and also a person who's been really my main instructor and has been like a father figure to me. His name is Brian Godhofer. He's like he brought me from the level of a white belt to a black belt, and kind of just like really showed me a lot. He guided me through like a lot of places in my life, which is a lot. And like all of them as a team, brought me to this level, which is an achievement on its own, because I started with them as just, this fat chubby kid, with a white belt. And now, like I'm at this level. So it's like I was, they bred me to get to this level. And then even after this, after fighting, eventually, they still set me up to have, like be able to run my own school. And so I'm financially set where it's, I have something after fighting as well. So, between all of them, it's been an amazing, it's just like the guidance, the mentors, like they've been just such great mentors to me, and they helped me achieve so much through this journey.
Do you see, right now at your gym, you're teaching classes, do you see the next Julio Arce in the crowd?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Sometimes you see them at a super young age, and you're like,
Yeah.
man, if they stick it out, they're gonna have so much potential. And look, I was the 1% of our school that wanted to take it to a further level. Most of the people, like, like, look, we don't have a fight. Like, we're not a fight school. We are, martial arts for the average person who wants to get in shape, or kids who want to learn how to protect themselves, and just so people get in shape and they learn self defense. And like I said, I was the 1% who took it further. And I see a couple of, up and comers who want to take it to that same level. So I'm like, hey, look, guys, just put in the work, put in the time, let yourself be coached, and your guys are gonna get there. Like,
Yeah,
trust the
man. Well,
process.
yeah, you're paying it back, from what your coaches did for you, you're paying it back eventually for
Yeah,
the next generation, which is lovely to see, man. Especially, martial arts, that's what it's all about.
yeah, I love it, love it. Just keep passing down knowledge.
Now, before heading into training camp for this upcoming fight, did you focus on anything in particular, any aspect of your skill set?
Yeah, like I went back to polish my basics, really up the wrestling even more. And like I said, it's just like upping everything. I also I've also been really smart with, because even though I'm upping my training, it's also keeping myself safe. And it's like look, I'm wrestling, I'm boxing, I'm kickboxing, I'm doing jujitsu, I'm hitting strength and conditioning. And through all that, like there's gonna be days where you just feel like you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm kind of burnt out. So it's like also taking the proper steps to being shown like how to recover more. That's been a major key, letting your body recover after grueling training sessions so you don't get injured, so you can really perform the next time, not just go off, oh, I'm just going to toughen it out. And then it's like, now I can't fight because I'm hurt because I was being stupid. Like, no, like really taking the time to recover correctly, taking the proper steps to make sure my training is successful all the way, injury free, and training smarter, especially as we're getting older.
Well, in this fight, do you want to get into a dog fight again, or do you want to get in there and get that 10-second, 5-second knockout? What is it? What is the plan for you?
You know what? I never, it's like wherever the fight goes, whatever happens, happens. So it's like, we'll see. Look, it could be quick. It could be a dog fight. It could be, one sided. But all I know is it's going to be an exciting fight. It's going to be an exciting night because I'm super pumped that we're going to be in like one of the biggest fight cards of the year. So, especially, and I got my two teammates fighting too. I got Lyman and Shane. So it's even better.
Well, it looks like you might be kicking off the whole show, right? So you get to fight, and then you could kind of just relax and watch the whole card for the rest of the
Yeah.
night. How good would that
I think I'm
feel?
like I'm like the second or third fight. I'm not
Yeah.
sure yet. So I'm like, that's awesome. Look, I go fight, and then again get to enjoy the rest of the night watching everybody else fight and watching people perform and just experiencing everything.
In the main event of UFC 244, you got the BMF title coming up. Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. How
Mhm.
do you think this fight is going to play out?
Oh, I feel like this fight is gonna go. It might go to the fourth round because it's gonna be a dog fight. That's gonna be a scrap. So I picture just it's gonna be like people are gonna be on the edge of their seats. whether it goes 1 round, 5 rounds, 2 rounds, like if people are gonna be on the edge of their seat because these guys, like I said, these guys are they're not here to impress. They're just here to fight. Like you got two like people that are just born to fight and they're gonna go at it.
You're part of the the up and coming crew of the featherweight division. UFC 245 in early December. The title will be up for grabs. You got Max Holloway facing off against Alexander Volkanovski. What is your breakdown of that fight, and do you have a prediction?
You know what? I'm a big fan of Max Holloway. Like I met him. I met him when I first fought in Boston. Dude was like the freaking nicest dude ever, coolest dude. So I'm always rooting for Max Holloway, and one day hopefully I'll get to fight him if he's still around. But yeah, I feel like Max Holloway is gonna just come in with another smart game plan. That dude is on a very high level right now, and he always comes up with really good strategies to try and just take this fight. Whether it's like I said, whether it's making a scrap or just technically just picking people apart. But you can't underestimate Volkanovski. That dude's got some power and he's aggressive. He's been bringing it too. So you got a hungry young lion versus somebody who's already like a vet in the game. So let's see what happens, whether it's experience or, the other guy just really just wanting it more. It's going to be who wants it more.
One last thing before I let you go. There's many different types of competitors in, in MMA competition. Do you consider yourself a martial artist or a prize fighter?
I consider myself more of a martial artist than a prize fighter. Look, eventually I'll get to the level of being a prize fighter, but I'm more of a martial artist. I follow, like my path. This is literally what I live my life every single day. Look, I train for my fights, and then I go teach martial arts all day at my school. It's in Bayside, Queens. So, like I live the life. I live the life of a martial artist, and I want to lead with a good example for all my students. I don't want to be a prize fighter. I don't want to have to, talk crap about anybody. That's not who I am. I just like being, honorable way. It's like, okay, we're agreeing to fight. We're gonna meet in that octagon, and we're gonna leave it all there on that mat. And then, whatever happens, look, I always hold my head up high, and I'm just gonna go in there and just go. And then I want my students to learn from that. That it's like, no, this where it's tough. Whatever happens, like just don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. You want something, go out and get it. You have to work hard for it.
All right. Well, November 2nd, UFC 244, Madison Square Garden. Julio, I always appreciate the time. Good luck on the fight, and have a fun rest of the year. Have a happy holidays.
You too, my man. Enjoy. Have happy holidays. Thank you for having me.